What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and today we are here to talk about Sistas Season 4, Episode 21. And can I tell you something? For this to be a very much anticipated episode, I am left very underwhelmed. Like it's so many twists and turns in this episode that don't even make any sense that I just don't get it. So let's just get into it, shall we? All right, y'all. So this episode is the episode that is next to last before the season actually ends. Okay. So the episode starts off with my girl Fatima coming downstairs to let Karen know, listen, I don't know what you came here for, but you ain't gonna leave with what you thought you had. Okay. This is over and we're not going to have this conversation again, sis. So Karen is looking at her like, what's it to you? I came to collect my man. And Fatima is like, I don't know how many times he has to tell you. I am his woman. We are together. And yes, we are going to be involved in this baby's life. So what's up with it? Basically. And Karen is looking at her like crazy, like this girl doesn't understand how this works. Like, Zach does this stuff where he leaves me and then he comes back, and you're just a casualty of war in all of this. This is what we do. And so, in the midst of them going back and forth as we expected them to do, some woman walks up with a baby. So, she has this baby in her arms and she's saying, she was basically, she's proclaiming that she was a stripper that Zach met at the strip club, and he was he was just so fine and so amazing that she gave it up to him out of any other suitors. She decided to give it up to Zach. So Zach is like, I don't even know you, I don't know who you are. And she's like, well, my name is, I ain't catch the chick's name, she said, but I go by Destiny, you may know me as Destiny. And so he tells on himself and says, it's so many, that's just what people do in the VIP. And Fatima hears that and says, she didn't say that she was in the VIP. So you do know her and you do remember what happened. And Zach is like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Karen is like, hold on, how old is your child? And she says he's 3. And she's like, well, so you were messing with her when we were together? First of all, Karen, y'all are not together anymore. So why do you even give a damn? That's what I want to know. And second of all, girl, why are you still standing here? Because you came out here and made yourself look like a plum fool, okay? So then she's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this to myself? You ain't never gonna change. And Fatima is like, yet you want him back. You over here begging and pleading to get him back. But you over here complaining about saying this is what he does and this, that, and the third. So why the hell are you still here? And Karen is like, you know what? You can have him. First of all, Karen, let me stop you right here. You never had him for you to give him back to anybody. Let me stop you right there. Okay? You never had Zach to be giving him back to anybody. Because what you thought was you was gonna come over there, give this whole little sob story, and he was gonna be like, you know what, Karen, you're right. I'm playing games and I want to come back to you. No, girl, get over him because he is daggone sure over you. So moving on. In the next scene, Sabrina brings Bayou to her house, which I don't understand why she brought him to her house if she wasn't about to get it in with him. Like, he could have gave you a goodnight kiss at the door and rolled out. But she brings him inside and he's like, please don't read into that with I'm sorry, I may have been talking about your friend just a little bit too much. She was like, yeah, you've been talking about her all night. You want her phone number? And he's like, no, 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 no. I just thought she was, attractive and she looks like the women from my country. And I'm like, Sabrina, this man, what is going on? I was just hoping that Calvin would be at the door because at this point, it's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing with Bio? Like, I don't understand. And he tries to give her a kiss and she avoids him and she's just too through with this man. And I'm like, why did you let him come in the house if y'all were just going to play this little song and dance and you weren't even going to give him a kiss? Like, you could have did that outside. You ain't even had to tell this man where you live, because the way Logan ran on up out that restaurant, I wouldn't be letting this man know where I work at this point. So Bio leaves, and as he's leaving out, of course, Danny is at the door because Danny wants to come over and tell her about all the stuff that Logan done spilled tea on. So Danny comes in and she's like, Logan came over and, he was telling me all this stuff about you, and I was really concerned, and he couldn't really tell me anything, but what's going on with you at this bank? Are you sure you had nothing to do with this bank robbery and all this, that, and the third? And Sabrina's like, what in the world? So they have a whole conversation about that. And then they roll to the next scene. So in the next scene, Maurice and Q are seen talking, and um, Q is trying to get into Maurice's good graces. He's talking about take his food to work, going back and forth, saying a whole bunch of stuff that don't make no daggone sense. And Maurice pretty much tells Q he can see right through his BS. He's like, I can sense the energy that you are a bad person or whatever. And so Q is like, I know, I did that. I made you like this, but I'm so sorry. And you're the worst person for me to have ever done that to. Like, really trying to act like he has remorse for all the things that he's doing. So Maurice ends up leaving, and Q gets on the phone and calls Logan. So he calls Logan and tells Logan, "Hey, I got the footage. I have the recording. He admitted it." So I'm like, "Wait." So basically they released Q from jail to Maurice's house to see if somehow him and Sabrina had something to do with this whole bank robbery. This is so stupid. I don't even know where to begin. It's just as dumb as Zach and this whole baby situation. I just need Tyler Perry to do a whole hell of a lot better. It's giving stupid. And I forgot to say, Zach did tell the potential baby mama that they gonna get a blood test, and she said, "Okay, fine." But anyway, getting back to Hugh and Maurice, I'm like, I just don't understand why Maurice would even let this man stay here. And furthermore, the recording that he has sounds like a joke. So he's going to give this recording, and he's concerned with, okay, so if I give you them, can I stay out of jail? And so he's just basically worried about his daggone self and trying to basically put all of this on Maurice. So moving on, Karen goes over to Andi's house to basically tell her how she done sat up there and embarrassed her daggone self at Zach's house. And so she's going on and on about how she's upset, she's embarrassed herself, she's ashamed, she can't believe she did all that. He's never going to change. He done had Fatima moving in there, blah, blah, blah. Then she all of a sudden turns on Andi and gets pissed at her because she's like, and don't you defend her. Don't you defend her. I'm like, Karen, what are you talking about? Don't defend her friend. Yes, you are her friend, and she's known Andi's friend, and Andi has known you longer. But girl, if you acting dumb as your friend, I'm going to tell you, sis, you acting stupid as hell. Like all of this going and over here and doing this and doing that, this is ridiculous. Like, why are you over here embarrassing yourself like this? It makes absolutely no sense. But of course, she wants Andi to have this blind loyalty to her. So then Andi gets emotional and she's like, Karen, I love you. I am your friend. I'm here for you. And then they get into talking about Andi and the whole situation with the apartment with Gary and how she's going to move back into her old apartment and how Gary done got the damn telescope and has been watching her from his office right across the road. So Karen has a slight piece of remorse for her for that. And so they both are over there having their emotions and whatnot, and then Karen ends up leaving. So moving on, Zach is at Fatima's trying to, no, I'm sorry, the baby mama goes to Karen's job, and Karen is like, what the hell are you doing here? So she's like, you know what? You better be glad that you're not married to him. And I just want to let you know that he did say nice things about you. He loved you. All he could do was talk about you. Girl, why are you here telling me this? I don't give a good goddamn about what he told some stripper up in the strip club. This makes absolutely no sense that you're here. And did you steal my credit card and do all these charges? That's what I want to know. Because I feel like somehow this broad is trifling and she's the one that charged up all this stuff on Karen's credit card. Or are we just going to dismiss that whole little incident that happened on the show and we ain't never going to find out who really did that? Anyway, she says, I'm going to take him for everything she's going, me and my baby, we're going to be all right. And they talk about how the chick was somehow inebriated. And Karen's like, well, why are you riding around and you're tipsy and drunk with your kid in the car? And she's like, don't judge me. I'm like, girl, why are you here? Why? What is your entire purpose for any of this? So moving on, Karen in the next scene, Zach is at Fatima's house apologizing to her about everything that happened. And he wants to go into telling her about this woman that he has to go see to see a man about a man about a dog. But he doesn't get into it because Fatima is basically like, you got to get your shit together because all of this stuff sounds real crazy. And Zach begins to go back into his old immature self, basically having a woe is me moment, like everybody is all against him, when it's like, Zach, you really set yourself up for a lot of this stuff because you shouldn't have never went to the strip club. You were broke, so why the hell are you going to the strip club and giving some chicks your money? And furthermore, why are you fucking a stripper raw? You don't know this lady from a can of paint, and you just gonna stick your sausage inside of her with no covering, like no casing whatsoever. What are we doing here? You got to think with the brain in your head, not the brain between your legs, because that one don't never do you right. So Fatima calms him down and says, listen, I got your back. I'm here for you. But you got to understand that this is all you're doing and you are the one to have to fix this. So then she's like, what's your problem? What's going on? Like, are you going to tell me what's going on and why you acting all jittery? And so Zach's like, nah, it's not. Basically, it's not time yet for him to tell her. And I'm like, if you don't just tell this lady what's going on, but he just digs a hole deeper for himself. So she's like, listen, I got to go to work. I ain't got time for this. So she rolls out of her own daggone apartment and Zach is left there looking dumbfounded, like, what the hell am I going to do? So then the woman calls and she's like, she texts and she's like, I'm leaving in an hour. Hurry up and get over here, basically. So he leaves out to go and meet her to see what she's talking about. So then Andi is at Karen's house because in their little back and forth conversation, she said, and telling Karen about her apartment situation and how she has to move. She's like, I need to come and stay with you so that, I can transition to back to my old apartment, which I'm like, I wouldn't have left my damn penthouse. He would have been watching me through the window, get ready to go to work and enjoy my space because that penthouse is in her name. So she don't have to worry about homeboy no more. Okay. But whatever, you like it, I love it. So they sitting there talking and whatnot. And so Karen is like basically still talking about the Zach situation. And Andi is like, yeah, your hormones must be all over the place. And then Andi makes a comment of saying, I like this softer Karen because apparently Karen was trying to give her advice on Gary and what to do and telling her basically, you should do what Danny would say. Keep that daggone penthouse and don't worry about him. It's in your name. You can do whatever you want with it. And besides, it's owed to you after all the things that he's put you through. And Andi smiles and perks up. And so they both end up leaving out to go to work. Okay. Actually, the scene with the baby mama was after this. But anyway. So moving on, y'all. Fatima is at work. Hayden comes in the office to pretty much antagonize her and get on her nerves. So he's like, "Yeah, I have access to the airport footage, and I saw Zach talking to the senator's wife and taking her bags, and she passed him a piece of paper, and I know that was the stock." I'm like, okay, this don't make no bit more sense than the man in the moon. That woman could have passed him her phone number on a piece of paper trying to hit on him. You don't know what was on that piece of paper. So that piece of paper wouldn't stand up in nobody's real court of law. That doesn't make any sense. You don't know what was on that piece of paper. And furthermore, maybe Tyler forgot in his writing because he seems to forget what the hell he done wrote. She didn't tell him about the stock on a piece of paper. She gave him her hotel room and she told him about the stock in her hotel room. She never said and wrote anything down. She physically told him what it was. So that piece of paper didn't mean shit. So if he's going to try to come after Zach over a piece of paper on some camera, you don't know what that is. And that piece of paper could have been a $20 bill rolled up in there that she didn't want nobody to see. It's so many things that we can infer from a piece of paper. So if that's what he thinks is going to stand up in court, that don't even make any sense. So Fatima, instead of her pointing out that as like obvious that it doesn't make any sense, she begins to ask him, were you like did you ever have a girlfriend in school? Like, were you not popular? Like, do you have some issues? You have little dick syndrome. You need to go get a dick implant and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, girl, you are shading him on the wrong stuff. You need to be telling him about himself and how this stuff don't make no sense that he's saying. So Andi walks in, and mind you, Hayden, don't you have a restraining order on Fatima? Why are you in her office? Okay. So Andi comes in and she got the girls fresh out the box, child, because they sitting so far out I can see all of her damn clavicle. So Fatima is like, so you know that ain't appropriate for work. You want me to go get you a blouse? She's like, no, because maybe Robin will come in here. And I'm like, girl, he done seen all the goods. You ain't got to put them out on display for him. But anyway, Andi starts to ask her how she's doing and and how is she feeling about the whole situation that happened with Karen. So Fatima begins to act like she don't know what she's talking about. She's like, girl, Karen told me. So go on, tell me how you feel. So Fatima's like, I'm good. It is what it is. Like, Zach and I are together and we're going to work it out. Like, Karen just going to have to find her place, basically. So Andi leaves out the office and she says, well, if you really want to talk to me, of course, I'm always here for you. Come in my office and we can chat. So in the next scene, Sabrina goes to Danny's house because she still wants to talk to her about this whole situation with Logan. And I'm like, girl, didn't y'all just talk about this at your apartment when she popped up after Bio left? I don't understand why y'all still talking about this. But apparently now Sabrina has jitters because she's like, what the hell? Like, am I about to get in trouble for something that I didn't do? So Danny begins to tell her, yeah, he said you need to get a lawyer and all this, that, and the third. Like, you could be in some serious trouble type of stuff. So I told him that you're a good person, obviously, and that you don't she was like, well, do you have anything to do with it? And Sabrina's like, absolutely not. I don't know about anything that you're talking about. So Danny is pretty much trying to be on Sabrina's side, give her some encouragement and tell her, look, you got to get to the bottom of this because it sound like you about to get blamed for some shit that you didn't do. So in the last scene, Zach goes to meet the senator's wife. So she comes to the door in some old nasty bustier child. She all dressed to get fucked. And so he comes in there and he's like, so what's up? And she's like, yeah, your little lawyer friend is calling me, asking me questions about you and the stock. Apparently he has some footage of you or whatever the case may be. And Zach is like, okay, so are you going to tell him anything? And she's like, no. And she's like, but you do live in a nice house and you must have made a lot. I see you made a lot of money off of it. And he's like, oh, okay, so that's what this is all about. You want some money. She was like, no, I don't want any money. And so he's like, well, what do you want? If you're not going to tell me, I'm about to leave. And she's like, I want you to have sex with me. So if you need to have sex with me so that I don't talk. And I'm like, Zach, do not have sex with this woman because it won't end there. You have sex with her now. Now she has that over you, and she can go and tell Fatima, and she can threaten to say, if you don't keep having sex with me, I'm going to tell your girlfriend and I'm going to go tell this lawyer guy. So that's never going to work either. It just seems like Zach comes up 10 steps up the stairs, and then he gets knocked back down 30 steps. It's just crazy. Like, his ladder to success just keeps on getting folded. And I don't want to see this for Zach. Like, it's just like coming at him in so many ways. Like the baby mama talking about she had a private investigator following him. I'm like, girl, how many years, if how good is this private investigator? Your child is 3 years old and you are so sure that this man is this baby's daddy. Why haven't you and found him 3 years ago? Why'd you wait 3 years to try to find him? This isn't adding up and it's not making any sense. It screams Hayden all around this. And furthermore, how many people have you slept with at this strip club? Because you're not about to tell me that Zach was so amazing that you slept with him and y'all didn't have no contact afterward. Like you didn't get some private investigator to find him because you were so infatuated with him afterwards. You wait 3 years to come after him now that he has money. This all sounds like a whole bunch of shady buffoonery. But child, I need Tyler to get to the point in this season finale, and it better not be a whole bunch of dragged out bullshit because I'm about listen, Sisters is entertaining. I'm gonna admit that. But the whole scene with Maurice and Q, I'm so over that. That doesn't make any sense. The senator and this piece of paper is stupid. There's no way that any lawyer can sit up in anybody's courthouse and to any smart judge and say, yeah, it's on that piece of paper. The judge is going to be like, okay, where is the piece of paper? I want to see it. And is it notarized? Because y'all could have wrote anything on a piece of paper and passed it to me. None of this stuff makes any sense. Andi, keep that daggone penthouse. F Gary. And Karen, get over it. He's over you. Fatima got that on lock, sis. And nothing that you're saying makes any sense. Go on back to the preacher and salvage it. And stop doing this whole, I just know it's Zach's baby. I know it doesn't make any sense to anybody else, but I just know that this is Zach's baby. And I'm going to be pissed off if this ends up being Zach's baby. And I know that Tyler Perry going to do some shady shit and make this his baby. So that this could be so that could be Zach and Fatima's continued connection to Sisters since they're getting their own show called Zatima. But I'm going to need them to go over to their own show and have their own issues. I don't want Karen crossing over as the baby mama because my thing is if Karen is crossing over, then what's the point of having the show Zatima? Just keep showcasing them and showing them more on Sisters with the sisters. But child, listen, who am I? I'm just a person reviewing the show. Thank y'all for watching. And please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with any other Sisters fans like us. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.